Alright, so recently I've been trying to get my viewers into Dead by Daylight. Now, the struggle is that a lot of them are new to the game and don't really know how to play. So I understand that. When I first started playing this game, there was a lot of things that I just didn't understand, and it made it really difficult for me to actually enjoy the game. So with this tutorial, I'm pretty much just going to try to help you guys get into the game and understand it to the point where the game does become enjoyable and you can actually play it for yourself. Now, the core of the game is pretty simple. It is 4 survivors up against 1 killer. The goal of the survivors is to pretty much complete generators until the point where they can unlock the exit gates and open them up and escape the trial. The killer's goal is to kill them by putting them on these sacrificial hooks until the entity takes them up and officially sacrifices them. Now, it sounds pretty simple, I know, but there's actually like a lot more to it than that. So let's get started with the pregame. So one thing I noticed that a lot of people struggle with is the different things that the pregame has to offer. So at the top right corner, it'll display your current rank, whether it's your survivor rank or your killer rank. That'll pretty much determine which players you'll be playing up against. Rank 20 being the lowest and rank 1 being the highest. You pretty much just rank up by playing and doing well in matches. Now, the player level pretty much has no significant value. It just pretty much determines how long you've been playing the game and how much experience you gain. So by just playing, you unlock experience and then you just unlock levels. Once you reach level 100, it'll turn into a devotion and it'll reset to 1 and so on and so forth. So I've pretty much hit 200 levels and then now I'm back at 28. Blood points is the currency that you use for your blood web. It helps you unlock stuff for your loadout and to level up characters. Iridescent shards is pretty much the in-game currency for the store. In the store, you pretty much just buy cosmetics, characters, or perks. RX cells is the same thing, however, it's your actual money. Like, that's your money turned into in-game money. That way, if you don't want to work for it, like iridescent shards where you actually have to work for it and play and earn it, you just pay out of your own pocket. Okay, so the pregame lobby is pretty simple. Right here, you select the survivor that you want to play, and you'll notice that you don't have every survivor unlocked. That's because some of them are DLC, and you actually have to purchase them through the Steam store or through the in-game store using your in-game currency. Now, you can also notice that every character has a unique level. That's because you level up each character individually, and you have different items and loadouts and inventories for every character. So here you can see the character's loadout. Here you'll have your inventory section that'll show you your inventory for your perks, your items, your add-ons, and your offerings. Now on Claudette, I'm only level 1, and you should be level 1 if you're just starting off as well on a character, and you'll have nothing but the perks. Now, it's important that you know that every character has 3 unique perks, and that includes killers. You can unlock those perks for other characters if you unlock their teachables. Their teachables are pretty much orange versions of the perks that you'll find in the blood web at level 30, 35, and 40. Once you unlock the teachables, you can start unlocking it in other characters' blood webs and unlock the perks for themselves. So here's the blood web. This is where you pretty much level up your character and unlock stuff for your loadout. You use blood points to unlock the different things, and once the blood web is filled up, you'll level up to the next level. Once you pass level 10, then that's when things change. So let me show you a different character. Here's how a bigger web would look like. Now, what I meant by it'll change is eventually you'll get to the point where you can't unlock the entire web. And that's usually after level 10, I believe. What'll happen is let's say I unlock this right side over here. This left side will start to vanish. So you just kind of have to pick and choose what you want from the blood web. Now, if you don't know what to unlock, just hover over it. You can see what it is, what it does, and how much it costs. That way you're mindful of what you're unlocking, and yeah, you pretty much just get to pick and choose. Now, here's an example of what I was talking about before. I'm actually on Fang right now, but notice that I can unlock a Meg perk. That's because I unlocked the Meg teachable previously, so now that means it'll pop up in my blood web so that I can unlock it on Fang. Now here's how a loadout will look like if you have a character at a higher level. So my Fang is level 50, and as you can see I have multiple perks on her. Perks that include other characters' teachable perks. So here you can see I have Lori's, I have Nia's, and also there are perks that just don't belong to anyone that you'll unlock and you'll probably see in your blood web normally, like this one, uncommon perk. It's just a regular perk. Now perks are pretty much just abilities that are going to help you throughout the game. You just got to read what they do, see what you like, and then take them, and then you just play around those perks. So I'll give you a quick example. You normally can't heal yourself in this game. You actually have to wait for a teammate to heal you. So with this perk called self-care, I can actually heal myself by myself. So like, you just gotta read the perks, see what they do, and then see what you like and just take them. Now if you notice, the perks actually have tally marks. The tally marks pretty much just represent the tier. You can have a tier 1 perk, a tier 2, and a tier 3. Pretty much the perk does the same thing, it just changes in terms of strength. So we'll go back to the self-care. Usually self-care 1 heals yourself slower than self-care 3. So you always want to unlock the tier 3 of the perk. Now items are pretty much just like perks. However, you actually have to hold the item in your hand to use the ability. Pretty much they just help you throughout the game. If you read what the item does, you can see how it'll help you in the game. The colors pretty much just represent the rarity on how often it'll appear in your blood web, and that goes the same thing for perks. Now items actually have a consume point where if you use the entire item, it'll break. Escaping the trial with the item means you can keep it as long as you didn't use all of it, and if you die in the trial with an item, you actually lose the item. Add-ons are pretty much just things that'll make your items better. Each item has its own set of add-ons. As you can see that these are highlighted and these aren't. You just have to read them and see what they do and see how they'll improve your item, and then you can just pick and choose what you want to take. Now offerings. Offerings are pretty much something that'll just change that one trial. There's different offerings as you can see, and it'll burn before the game and you'll see which offerings are being used in that game. Some offerings include map selection, spawning next to people, earning extra blood points, or having extra luck. Like I said, you just have to read to see what it does, and just note that you can only use one offering per game, and once you use it, it's gone. Right here you can customize your character in terms of cosmetics that you can unlock through the shop by purchasing them with iridescent shards or with RX cells. And down here is the store. That's where you get to access the store to buy stuff in game. Now Killer's pregame lobby is pretty much the exact same thing as Survivors. You have almost everything the same. You'll have your killer rank, you'll have your killer level for the specific character, you still have your player level, and you still have your blood points, and everything pretty much stays the same. The biggest difference, I think, is this right here. Your loadout, you'll have a different power. Now you don't have items on killers, you have a unique power that you'll have with them forever. That's just their power. So you just have to understand what power each killer has. Knowing their power will help you play them and use them to the best of their ability, or to even play against them. I think that's one of the biggest struggles when people first get into this game, is that they play against killers that they have no idea what they do, and then if you don't know what they're doing, then you don't know how to play against it. And it's the same thing for when you're playing them. When you're playing a killer, you have to know what you're doing in order to play them. So we'll use Trapper as the main example. His power is probably one of the simplest powers in the game. He has the ability to pick up traps that are spawned all throughout the map randomly and place them. They're literally bear traps. He places bear traps on the floor, and if a survivor steps on it, they get trapped. Now depending on what the add-on does, then there can be different effects, but like I said, you kind of just have to read it and see what they do. And in the game, when you're playing against a certain add-on, as you start to familiarize yourself with the different add-ons, you'll see what you're playing against. But pretty much we're not going to go that in depth. You'll just learn that as you play. But yeah, his power is pretty simple. Set down bear traps, and if a survivor steps on it, they get stuck and they get injured, and they have to kind of free themselves. But aside from that, the killers are pretty much similar to the survivors, as where they can take add-ons as well, making their power better. Kind of just how survivors take add-ons to make their items better. They have perks, just like how survivors have perks. Obviously, there are different perks, and each killer has their own 3 unique perks. But like I said, it's the same thing. You can teach those unique perks to each of the other killers. You just have to unlock the teachables at the same levels: 30, 35, and 40. Offerings are the same thing in the sense that you use it once per game, and you just have to read the effects. Obviously, the killer is going to have different effects or different offerings than the survivors, but like I said, you just read them. Here you have the blood web, and as you can see, it's the same thing. You can unlock different items or different add-ons for your power. You can unlock different offerings, and you can unlock perks. So it's pretty much the same thing. Like I said, everything is pretty much the same thing. The only biggest difference is the power. Here you can customize your killer. You can have different uniforms, which I don't have, sad face. Here you go, different weapons, and you can have different like heads. Once you understand all the pre-game stuff, now we jump into the game. Okay, now I'm going to cut the video here mainly because I want to actually keep the 2 parts separated. I want this video to primarily focus on the entire pregame of Dead by Daylight, and I want the second video to focus more in depth on the stuff within the game. And if I combine the videos, it's going to go over 20 minutes, possibly longer. So I don't want it to be an entire long video. I'd rather have it in parts. That way people can focus on what they need to watch or improve on. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you need me to go into more specifics on anything in this video and would like me to make a video about that, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you have any questions that maybe I didn't fully touch up on in this video, also feel free to leave anything down below. I'll be more than glad to help you out. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this really helps and gets you into the game, and I'll see you guys in part 2.